Hello and welcome back to the FSF Podcast. I am Tim. I am your host, and this is the show that is made by nerds for nerds. So, welcome to the Nerdatorium. Our guest today in the Nerdatorium is a longtime voice actor who's given life to several characters across multiple Dragon Ball Z shows and games, including Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball itself. She's the voice of Krillin, young Krillin, Baba, Mother, and there's a whole bunch more. Trust me, if you go look at her IMDb page, there's just like boop, 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 boop. She's voiced them all. You could also hear on One Piece as Alvida. That's just the tip of the iceberg. She's voiced such a variety of characters in other anime shows over the years, and I am just thrilled and pleased as punch, you might say, to welcome Laurie Steele to the FSF Podcast. Welcome to the show, Laurie.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Thank you for coming on the show. Excited to have you. Now, for those of you playing the home version of the FSF Podcast, I met Laurie at the Monroe Comic-Con. She was there to do her meet and greets and sign some things for the folks, and she was kind enough to do a panel there for us. And I thought, well, by golly, by gosh, I need to try and get her on the show. And she said yes. So I have questions for Laurie that we did not ask her at Monroe Comic-Con in the panel room. So I'm excited to see what her answers are to these. Now, some of these are we're going to find out, Laurie. We're going to find out. All right. So I'm going to ask you the first question I ask every single one of my guests. And that's for two reasons. Number one, I love to know why people do what they do, what makes them tick. But then I also, I'm a nerd, and nerds love origin stories. So in the story of Laurie Steele,
yes.
What made you say, I want to be an entertainer?
Oh, from the time I was a little kid, I didn't have, I was an only child. So there was nothing really to do except I watched cartoons all the time. And I told my parents at that time, I'm going to do that. I always wanted, my mother used to, I know you're not going to know who this is, but many years ago, I think in the 1920s, there was this famous comedian. Her name was Sarah B. She was also a dramatic actress. And every time I would do something, my mother would say, oh, God, Sarah B. So I always wanted to be out front and entertaining and acting and doing all of that. And I'd have plays in the backyard, or we'd dress up as different characters. And I told my parents, I'm going to do that, pointing at the Flintstones. I'm going to do that one day. And then, of course, they went, you're nuts. You're not going to do that. And little did I know, I not only would be doing it, but to get paid for it, too. That's nice. So that's where it came from.
Okay.
My grandmother always told me, she said, you're such a strange child. I think you're in a room full of people and it's just you. So there you go.
You know how it's kind of funny to me how many voice actors I've talked to that have a similar origin story where it's, they were either the youngest of so many children, or they were an only child, and so they were always doing these things around the house, and doing voices and putting on little mini shows around the house. They were always entertaining, even though they didn't realize that that's what they were doing. They were just having fun.
Yeah, I was always dressed up like a cowboy. I don't know where that came from, Roy Rogers or something. But yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so you mentioned the Flintstones, and we were talking pre-show about some of the timeless animations. We pre-show we talked about the Jetsons. You just mentioned the Flintstones. Was there any other animated shows that when you were a child that you looked at and you went, you know what, I that's kind of fun? Other than the ones we talked about,
with all of them, anything that was on, Astro Boy, anything that was on, I loved it. But the Jetsons and the Flintstones were definitely my favorite. And of course, Fractured Fairy Tales. Do you remember that?
I don't actually.
Oh my God, there were so many great voices on that. And Bullwinkle, Rocky and Bullwinkle, fantastic voices on that. And a lot of the same ones from Fractured Fairy Tales. So I listened to all of those and thought, yeah, I got to do that. And if you listen to anything from the 60s, it was all the same people.
Oh, yeah.
So that was nice.
That's why, Disney has Baloo the Bear in like 17 different shows, even if it's not Baloo the Bear. It's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Same voice, but hey, it is what it is. It was a warming and comforting voice.
Yeah.
So
We all knew it was
Okay.
like, oh yeah, that's so and so, yeah. So I just wanted to do that. The characters were always so vivid, so vivid. So there I am. There it is.
So the characters being so vivid, is that part of what attracted you to anime work? Was
Oh
that
yeah. Oh
that you
yeah.
could be these wild and crazy characters and vivid and
hmm
outlandish?
You can do it in your pajamas, if you wanted to. You can absolutely do amazing things with your voice that you could do on stage. I've done that too. But I really loved being in a studio and being able to go wild and not drive the engineer crazy, but uh, be very artistic. And it's just wonderful. I love studio work. It's
All
kind of
right.
odd though. I mean, when you're there by yourself and you've got the engineer who never talks to you, and then you have your director, people are like, oh, I'd be really afraid to do that. Why? You got one guy talking to you who knows what he wants, and yourself, and the engineer you're never going to hear a peep from. It's not scary at all. I think anybody that would like to do it should do it. You should
That's
absolutely should
fair.
do it. Go take your iPad or whatever you've got. Go in your closet because that's the best place to have a little studio and do it. Try it because you're
Yeah.
going to feel bad if you don't.
Yeah. I've over the last year and a half, I've been practicing trying to do like narration style readings because
Yeah,
I would like to get into book narration.
yeah.
And I very much enjoy that type of thing. And I listen to
hmm
audiobooks like crazy. That's kind of my jam.
Oh,
So I got away from actual physical reading, and it's more or less because I don't have the time to be able to sit down and read a book like I would
yeah,
normally want to.
yeah.
Uh, with life situations as they are, working full time, everything else.
Oh, yeah.
So driving to and from places, I listen to a book.
hmm
Um, I work for a car dealership, and
Oh,
as I'm out on the lot, I put my AirPods in and
oh,
I'll listen to a book as I'm out walking around. I run social media for one of a car dealership nearby,
oh,
and so yeah, so I do that. I'll be out with one AirPod in, so I can hear if any customers come onto the lot or you know,
that's great.
um, yeah. So it makes it so I get caught up on a little bit of my reading, that way. So
I try to read
but-
and my mind goes six different directions. I should definitely do that because I
so
can't
yeah,
I
so
can't sit and read a book.
no, and that's that's part of my ADHD as well. If I sit
hmm
down and I start reading a book, instantly I'm looking outside. It's like, ooh, shiny, what's going on over there?
Isn't that the
Um,
truth? Shiny is exactly the way it feels.
yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
So I got
ooh,
this new shiny thing that popped over there that has absolutely zero to do with me, but I'm going to pay
exactly.
attention to that instead of the book I have in front of my hands.
You read a paragraph and then you have no idea what you just read. And you thought, oh crap, I got to read that again.
Well,
So it
yeah,
takes
usually I ended
forever.
up reading about 3 times so I can
Yep,
figure out what's going on. So
exactly,
yeah, yeah, I
exactly.
get that. 100% understand. All right, so with you though, and acting in anime, one of the things we talked about things being outlandish and a little wild.
Yeah.
Um, Considering that much of anime can be unrealistic at times for our human consumption of what we see in real life,
Yeah.
has there ever been a character though that where you're like, yep, even for anime, this is a weird one?
Oh wow. Oh, I was a spider once. I was a potato once. Uh,
Potato.
potato. Yeah, my agent called up and she said, "Can you be a potato?" And I said, "Mashed or fried." But yeah, sometimes you just get weird. I can't think of any particular one, but there have been strange ones over the years. There have been strange ones.
How how do you act as a potato?
Honestly, I don't remember what I did for it, but it was years ago, and it was from a mayonnaise commercial, and
Okay.
Bert Gillum was in it. Remember Bert Gillum from?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was in it too, and I don't remember, but it was probably 25 years ago.
That's funny.
hmm
And I love the fact that you didn't say no or ask anything else. Your question was mashed or fried. So
Master Fried. I mean,
yeah.
what kind of answer do you give to somebody that calls you up and says that? You know, all right. I was doing something at the time for another commercial, and she called in the middle of that, and I thought, what the hell? Well, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Right. I
I'll
go
do
with an
anything
Irish
that's right.
accent.
Please.
Yeah. Hit him with an Irish accent. Oh, it's
Yes, that's
potatoes.
it. Yeah, so it goes.
It's a little taters. Yeah.
It is, boss.
That was I think mine was more Russian there than Irish, but whatever.
It's
Okay.
okay.
Uh,
You can do that.
Fair enough. I do like the potato answer. That's
Yeah. I mean,
that's
yeah.
interesting. Okay. So one of the things I always like to ask voice actors about is because when you're starting with a new character and you're developing a voice for that character,
Right.
there's a process I'm sure that's involved, and you have to prepare somehow. Now,
Yeah.
I've talked to some voice actors who like to have as full of a description as they possibly can for the
Yeah.
character, or to see images. Is there a method that works best for you, or
I
do you
like,
just kind of run and gun?
I'll tell you, I always want to see a picture because I can't do it without seeing a picture. And I like the description. And I always tell my agent before I do it, get me as much information as you can, and she's like, well, other people don't ask for that. Well, I do. And I want to see and hear everything ahead of time. A lot of times, though, you'll be in the studio and they'll put stuff up on the screen and say, okay, this is it in Japanese. All right, you got it? All right, go. Where am I supposed to pull this voice from? And I mean, you do, but that's the hardest thing when they just put something up on the screen and tell you to go and do it. Or, oh, and this one you're dead. All right. Because I always ask when I go in, am I dead today or not? Because I've done 4 or 5 characters dead. It's very strange. But yeah, I have to see things. I'm very visual. I have to see things.
Okay, I can appreciate that. I
Yeah.
think that ties back into our conversation just a second ago. About the ooh shiny and the squirrel. It helps.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I have to see it. And then I can get kind of a voice for it.
Okay. Yeah, because I think and obviously I'm not getting paid for any of the things that I'm doing, but like when I even just listening to how other narrators will read something, and I because I'll try to emulate that to some degree, but I also want to have my own voice and have my own sound,
Sure.
and but I think it's kind of interesting when I talk to voice actors and they're talking about like what you just said, I want to see a picture because I remember, I can't remember who it was, and pardon the lack of memory here, but I'm 400 and some odd interviews in, but this but with with between live shows and recorded interviews,
Yeah.
but they talked about how they had this idea of what the character was going to be, and it was going to be this little pipsqueaky voice, and then they saw the picture and it was this big muscle bound thing, and the pipsqueaky voice was not going to cut it.
Look at Bojabu. I always thought that was really funny that he was really big and looked like pink bubblegum, and then he had that little teeny weeny voice on it. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So, it's always kind of interesting when I like to hear how people do things. It helps me kind of wrap my mind around your process and how you bring your characters to life, so that helps me understand your craft a little bit better, and your art and how you're performing it.
When you were talking about doing narration, I did narration for so many films and a couple of TV shows. But the one thing that I always heard over and over is slow down. Even if it sounds too slow to you, it's not, because you need time too to understand what you're saying. Because if you're blowing through it, you're not doing it. You're just kind of reading past.
Oh yeah,
Slow
that makes sense.
down. Yeah. So
yeah, because otherwise you're just going through the motions, and
you're
you're
just
not.
going through the motions. Yeah.
Yeah. As my old English literature teacher told me one day when I was reading, and I think I was probably not slowing down. She told me that I was a good reader, but I was putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right. That's right. I did a lot of films for some weird reason for oil companies.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I did for quite a while. And then there was what was the pink lady that did all the makeup? She's real popular. You probably would remember, but I did a lot of film work for them too, and J.C. Penney's. So
Okay.
you wouldn't think J.C. Penney would have films, but they did a lot of training films and things.
Oh well, that makes sense. Corporate training, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't do this in the office. Here's a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, there was a lot lot of films on theft and how to get away, watch out for that, and how to treat customers. It was quite interesting. I did it for 7 years. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I'm thinking, oh, she did a film for. No, I did 7 years worth of films for JCPenney.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are burned into the minds of JCPenney employees all over this great country.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could think of the makeup lady. You would know. Your people would know immediately with the pink Cadillacs. You know who I'm talking about? They always drove pink Cadillacs and wore bees.
Oh, the Mary Kay people.
Mary Kay. I did a lot of work for Mary Kay.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. And when you'd walk into the building, there were pictures of her that were about 6 feet tall and about 3 or 4 foot wide, all the way down the halls. And I was always nervous in that building, because the Mary Kay women are very, not to say pushy, but they're very direct, but I didn't have to deal with that. But I'll tell you a funny one with Mary Kay. I was in the bathroom at my regular job. I worked at Dick's Last Resort for 36 years in Dallas. And I'm in the bathroom in the stall. And all of a sudden I see this woman's card coming through the door. She was trying to sell me Mary Kay while I was in the bathroom. I thought, wow. And I went back. I told them that at their building, and they said, "Oh my God, write that down. We got to say something about that at our next meeting." I thought that's pushing it too far. But that's what you want. You want somebody pushing their business card through the door.
Oh wow,
John.
I have been I've been in sales my whole life, and I have never ever considered pushing my card through a bit.
Well, now you do. Now you'll have the opportunity.
Right?
I can sell them that car. They'll
Right.
be the most fun.
Buy a car.
Like, your pants are on your ankles. You're the most vulnerable. Here's my car.
Oh, I'm in a very redneck neighborhood. I don't know that probably is the safest idea for me.
Yeah.
I like my body with the number of holes it has in it right now. I'd like to keep it that way.
They came to Dallas. Their main convention was in Dallas. Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of pink ladies. It was quite an event. Quite an event.
I bet. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's change the channel here just a little bit.
Okay.
And I want to go back to talking about Comic-Cons for a quick moment, because now I stood back from afar, and even when I was operating other tables so other people could go to their panels, and I would sit in at their table, I watched you and Tiffany Vollmer sit there and interact with the fans and at the Comic-Con, and it was pretty clear that the fans love your characters and the way that you guys are giving them life. So my question is for you, because I know you do quite a few cons. What do Comic-Cons mean to you, and what's a favorite interaction that you remember?
They give me life. They give you energy. People come up with so much energy, and they say, "I love you," or "You mean so much to me," or "You were my childhood," and you always be nice and wonderful to everybody comes up, because you don't know what their story is. I'll tell you one will probably make me start to cry. This girl came up to me, and she said, "When I was growing up, I was treated really badly. I was beaten up a lot, and I wanted to kill myself. And if it weren't for you," and she didn't mean me, she meant Dragon Ball, "I would have done it." And I just sat there and bawled, because I thought, you never know. You just never know. You think you're doing something fun or silly, and to someone out there, it means something, really means something. And that's the one that got to me more than anything. Still does.
Yeah, I could see why that would. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're giving characters life, but it's how cool is it to think of that in some small way you helped somebody stay another day.
Oh, I know. And I told everybody in Dragon Ball that story. I said, "You remember to always be wonderful, always be nice, because you have no idea what people go through." And people just lived for that show. They really did. I think I told you the story. My mother watched it and she said, Laurie, that's just stupid. And I said, well, I don't think they've geared that audience for you, Mom. So, but boy, that show really kicked in with everybody, didn't it? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we never thought, uh, especially the four of us that came from Dick's Last Resort to that we would, I thought we'd do the run of the show and then that would be it. And how many years? How many years? I started in 97. I've had
Yeah.
people come up to me and say, you started August 16th, 1997. I'm like, how do you know that? But they do.
Right.
I mean, little things that they remember or like, and it's like, it's just amazing. I honestly, when I got the part and I walked into Blockbuster and I was looking at the shelves for Dragon Ball, there were floor to ceiling Dragon Ball, like all across this one part of the room. I had no idea. It had been running for, I think, 10 years up to that point. And all I knew about it was the guy that hired me said, yeah, we were doing some redos in Vancouver, but it was too expensive. So we moved down to Dallas and we were in a bank building at the time. And we're going to do it now. And I really had no history on what had come before us, So it was amazing. It's how long this has lasted.
Yeah, because you've been going for about 30 years now, just
Yeah,
short of 30 years.
I know.
And I mean, you look at the number of shows that have spawned off of Dragon Ball. There's GT, there's Z, there's one other that I know of. Plus there's, I mean, how many video games
Oh my
and
God, yeah.
yeah, and all these other things. And it's amazing to me that even at Comic-Cons where there aren't Dragon Ball actors going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
like last year in Grand Rapids, I don't think there was any Dragon Ball characters there.
Mm-hmm.
But the number of Dragon Ball cosplayers that show
Oh
up there,
yeah.
it just Krillin's a pretty popular one for cosplay. And
Well, he
and
doesn't
I
have
just
any hair. He's pretty easy. He doesn't have a nose. He's short and fat. It's pretty easy.
yeah, it's kind of funny. All these people walking in with they all got these bald caps on, and
Yeah.
and they're just wearing the outfit and stuff. And so I think that's really cool. And I love it too when I see families like, so in Monroe we had that family in the back of during your guys' panel. They came in kind of late, but the father was dressed up, in the outfit, and so were his couple of his kids, and it's really cool to me to see families, so involved and immersed in the culture and having fun with, all these things.
Oh, I was going to this con a couple days ago, this weekend, and I get in for my Uber, and the guy didn't speak a lick of English, but what did he have hanging from his mirror? Master Roshi. Master
Nice.
Roshi. And or Walmart, you walking through Walmart, they still have the T-shirts. Or I've been in other stores where they have all the characters, or even the Hobby Lobby, and I'm just so surprised that it's still going strong. But
Yeah, I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. There's such a fandom behind that show. So, all right. Well, all right. I'm going to ask you the next couple questions. One is for fun.
Okay.
One is for to just kind of pick your mind a little bit. And then we've got a silly question coming. So the first one's for fun. Here's for funsies. Now looking at your IMDb resume, there's a million things that you were involved in. And I was all kinds of excited until I realized it was the video game that I hadn't played, that you were the voice of the handler for Aeon Flux. And I was like, yeah, I hadn't played that game. And I was like, oh my God, she was on Aeon Flux? Really? Because I watched that on MTV when it came out back in the day in the 90s. Back when MTV still played music.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So I was all kinds of excited, and then I realized it was a video game. And I was like, well, I haven't talked to her about that. I haven't played that game. So, but anyway, I told you that so I could ask you this. So you have all these characters out there. If you had to pick two of the characters that you have given voice to defend the Earth against a villainous attack, who would you pick and why?
Two characters, God. It's like a Rolodex in my head. Gosh, I don't know. They're Alvita, because she's scary
Okay.
from One Piece, and she's
Yep.
big and frightening. And oh boy, I can't even think. I maybe Krillin, because he's always wanting to fight the good fight.
Okay.
I would say those two, or maybe. I was trying to think what show that was from. That wasn't from any of the. Her name was Nurse Nina. She was Russian and real big. Men are like babies. Let's see. Pick up needle and inject self. That I would say Krillin and Alvita. Yeah,
Okay.
but
I think
yeah.
I
Go
think
ahead.
those are two solid choices.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the ones I didn't remember. But yeah, those two. Why? Because I think they would stand up against anybody, and really have the good fight. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Solid pick. Solid pick and a solid why. I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So here's the introspective question.
Uh-oh.
And I call this question suggestion time. This will be kind of interesting based on our earlier conversation.
Yeah.
So, Laurie Steele, what are you reading or listening to right now that you think everybody else should know about? Or you can include watching as well.
Oh, watching. I watch Halloween baking shows. I really don't watch series. I listen to jazz all the time because it's
Okay.
very soothing. You wouldn't think I would be a jazz freak, but I just love it. And that's about it. I don't, like I said, I don't read a lot because I get too scattered. Um,
Fair.
but I'm one of those people, and I know people like that, who go back and watch things over and over because it made them feel great. Like Seinfeld or um, The Nanny or something. It just makes you feel good. You do the same thing. You do the
I
same
do
thing. What do you
all the
watch?
time. So I watch Star Wars all the time, but I
Yeah.
also watch like shows like How I Met Your Mother,
Oh yeah.
and I absolutely adore that show.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and I'll watch Parks and Recreation. I'll watch Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm just watching Friends. Yeah.
yeah, so stuff like that. I go back and MASH. I absolutely
Oh
adore the
yeah.
show MASH, and
Um.
my wife and I will watch it. And when we're gonna have a sit down and just watch some TV night,
Mm-hmm.
we'll sit down, we'll watch a couple episodes of MASH, and we start off at the beginning, watch it all the way through, and then we start back over at the beginning.
I knew David Ogden Stiers, and
Okay.
he taught theater makeup at my college, and he was came from New York, and I just thought he was the most wonderful person. He was so kind and so encouraging, and at the time he was moving to California to open a children's theater, and then I knew he went back to New York and did the magic show. It was a show called The Magic Show. And then he went back to California. And then the next thing I saw him in was MASH. And I was so glad that he got that part. Then you saw him in a lot of different things after that. But he
Yeah.
was just the most wonderful person. So when I see him, it just makes me happy. Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
Such a nice guy.
I enjoy his character on MASH. He makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So highfalutin, nose up in the air, and
Yeah,
just,
he acted like a horse's ass on there, but he really was just the opposite. Just the opposite.
I find that a lot of people who actually act in those type of characters,
Yeah.
and who are maybe, they play them very well, are quite typically the opposite of what that character is. They're
Yeah.
usually, it's because they, I asked one person, how they, because he was such a nice guy. I'm like, how do you play a villain? And he's like, well, I just imagine all the things I wouldn't want to be.
Yeah.
He
And
goes,
they're
and I
more
put
fun
that
to
in.
play.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, plus I get to get away with a lot of things that I would never get away with any other time.
Oh yeah, I always tell him, it's Crunchyroll now. If you have any monsters, are really truly evil stuff, please call me, because I
Sure.
love those type of characters. The goody two shoes ones now, but if you want something evil or really strange, please call me.
There you go. So, all right. So you said you listen to a lot of jazz.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite jazz musician?
Najee.
Najee. I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
You would know him if you heard him. And I saw David Sanborn uh, right before he died, his saxophone player. And you heard him on everything in the 80s. He was on
I know who
everything. David
Sanborn. I know who Sanborn is.
And I took myself to go see him on my birthday, and I was so shocked that they had to carry him onto the stage, and then they had to carry him off. It just really disturbed me. And then he died 3 months later from prostate cancer. But he put in one hell of a show. Still, as sick as he was, and having to be carried, I was just so amazed by him. So,
I remember the only thing I can think of that's even close to that. When I was in Memphis years back, we were walking through Beale Street in Memphis, and they have a lot of street corner performers, and there was this older gentleman sitting there in a wheelchair, slumped over in his wheelchair, and pouring his heart and soul into this guitar, and he could play the blues like woo. It was just amazing what this man was. And when the song would end and he was just kind of sitting there head down like, oh, that took everything out of me. And then they'd start the next one. He'd rip right back into it.
Wow.
It was really cool to watch. Yeah, definitely put some money in his hat.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to watch. All right. Well, we'll tell people to go listen to some David Sanborn and some Najee.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
They'll like it. They will like it.
All right. Very cool. All right, Laurie Steele, it's time for a silly question. So the basis of this silly question comes from my team, one of the team members here named Kathleen. And Kathleen has a daughter who at the time was about 5.5, I believe. And they were out for a walk, and somebody asked her daughter this question, but not Kathleen. And Kathleen thought, well, that's rude. You should never age out of this. You should always be able to be asked this question. Yeah. So that question is, Laurie Steele, what's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, I can't remember what they're called. What are the really, really big ones that I guess they're vegetarians, but they have the really tiny hands, but they're gigantic with a big tail? Is that T-Rex?
No, T-Rex is definitely not a vegetarian.
Oh, they were just really, really big, but he had little tiny hands. I don't remember what was it called.
I don't know the name of that one. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it'll hit you. It'll hit me too. I can't think of the name of it. Well, I haven't really been around dinosaurs lately, but that's the one that comes to mind right away. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look that one up. I'll have to get back with you.
I can't think of what it is. Yeah, I can't think of it either.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So, Laurie, hey, thank you so much for being on the FSF podcast today.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been a joy for me. Where can my listeners and viewers go to find out more about you, your work, anything you got coming up?
I would say on the IMDb. I never know what's coming up. I mean, I've done a lot of little things that are going to be continuous that'll pop up throughout this year. So I would just look at the IMDb and kind of watch there.
Okay.
Because I don't know from one day to the next, and that's kind of fun too. But I'm out there. I'm always going to be around. I think it's funny when they were doing Dyma, and somebody said, "Where's Laurie on this?" Because I wasn't chosen as Krillin, but I was chosen as Marba. And somebody said, "Well, she's old." Well, it's not like Grandma's on the roof and we can't get her down. I'm older. I'm older, but I'm still here. I just may be doing something different. So I ended up being purple and floating and cross-eyed, and that worked for me too. So that was fine. I didn't do Krillin until I was 42 years old. So there you go.
Yeah, you got plenty of time yet. You're good.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I do.
All right, very cool. Well, I'll make sure to put an IMDb link down below so people can check you out and make sure they know what's coming up. Hey, guys, and speaking of what's coming up, if you haven't been following our show here on YouTube, that's the most important free thing you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests like Laurie Steele here to have these conversations and funny moments for you to be able to listen to. And besides, if you're not following, how are you going to know when new cool stuff is hitting? So click the like and subscribe button. Like I said, it's a completely free action. It costs you $0. and it helps us more than you will ever know. And make sure you go check out Laurie on her IMDb page. She's got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and yeah, that'll be a lot of fun for you guys. So thank you to everyone for watching and or listening. Thank you to Laurie Steele for being on the show. And may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Bye.
Copyright 2025 FSF Podcast. Reference any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.